Welcome to the Lakers Fast Break. I'm your host, Joe Soro, and Gerald Glassford is in a parking lot at Sizzler.
Sizzler!
Yes, I don't know what their tagline is. What's the tagline there?
Just eat the damn food.
Oh, okay, good. So, tonight we witnessed history, folks. History that's only happened twice. And that is the Sacramento Kings swept the Lakers in four games. I say 4 games in a season, and it was quite entertaining. I'd say in the first half there was some hope that maybe the Lakers could come in the second half and maybe blow this thing out a little bit. Unfortunately, the Lakers had the third quarter of death rear its head, and the Lakers have lost, folks, in case you just arrived. They lost 120-107, and it wasn't really close. To start the third quarter, I believe they didn't score a field goal for the first 7 minutes. The Sacramento Kings were able to extend their lead and really keep it the whole way, all the way into the fake runs that we always see right around the fourth quarter. LeBron kind of came to life when he realized that he needed to get 10 points to continue his double-digit streak. Sabonis, is it DeMontis? Am I saying that right? Or is it dominating? Is it DeMontis or dominating?
You got me.
Okay, so you see, I got you, right? So DeMontis, AD for the 10th time. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 10 times. Anthony Davis, top 75 player, still in his prime. Healthy, viable, 0 for 10 against dominating Sabonis. And Sabonis also, sprinkled a little triple-double in there as well. So, overall, a terrible night for the Lakers, a terrible night for us. We just wasted 2.5 hours of our lives watching an inept team play basketball again. We had some hope the last few weeks with some good games, but unfortunately, guys, the Lakers, anytime they play a team that they struggle against, they seem to struggle to the point where they get blown out where it matters. So the Lakers are, at this point, likely to go into this next stretch run, which is the last 15 games, as a team that's going to win a few games, lose a few games, and probably solidify themselves as either a 9 or a 10 seed. They were fortunate that the Golden State Warriors lost today to Dallas, so positions haven't changed. The Lakers are still in the 9th spot, as the Golden State are still in the 10th spot. So, yes, it is not a good night, but we have Gerald, who's, again, roaming around. He'll try to chime in as best he can without the surrounding noise. He is in LA. He is doing vacation family things. But we do have Mr. John Costa, Mr. Clutch Talk. And John, you weren't on playback, so I don't know what you saw or what you heard. But at this point, it's just us calling the games as they are. When they lose, they look like trash. When they win, you get that little glimmer of hope. But that's all this team has.
You get that little glimmer of hope, Joe, and then you get your hopes up for 1 second. Then all of a sudden, bow, they just smash your hopes to the ground like they're a mean high school girlfriend or something like that, Joe. They just break your heart and you can't do anything about it, right? Because, we were getting some hope because we're like, all right, here we go. D'Angelo Russell stepping up. We're hoping that Anthony Davis has some type of pride anywhere within his body. And he's like, you know what? Like, I'll take it. I'll take some initiative and step up. But like how you said, does not take initiative, gets the man who prior to this game was 9-0 against him and now is 10-0. That guy goes and puts a triple-double on you. And prior to the game, I don't know if you heard these comments, Joe, but I guess AD said, like, oh, this is a team game. It's not personal. Are you kidding me? It's not personal. The guy that has been dominating you, the guy that the media and everyone has been talking about, that's just been killing you the last couple of games, and that's not personal, are you crazy, Anthony Davis? Or are you just running from the smoke? Because to me, it sounds like he's running from the smoke. And tonight, guys, honestly, D'Lo was a no-show. Stell, I think that's how you say your name. Yeah, Stell. Like, D'Lo was absolutely a no-show, and it's frustrating. Now, I don't want to go and say the other thing that Stell said. Stell said D'Lo's inconsistent. D'Lo has not been inconsistent. He gave us this. He's been giving us a good 2-month stretch of basketball. Now, he came up very short in this game, and it's frustrating because you're coming up short when we need you most, buddy. Come on, dog. Something else I want to touch on, Joe, which is funny to me. I took note of the game when I was watching. I said the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, we had a 39-year-old LeBron James give us he tried to bring us back into the game, whether it's because he tried to get us back in the game or because, like you said, he's just trying to keep his 10-point streak alive. No matter what he did with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter is he put his head down and he just went to the rim, and it was working. It really makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder, Joe, why in the world 29, 28, 30, or however old Anthony Davis is, but he's way more in his prime way more in his prime than LeBron is at 39. Why in the world Anthony Davis doesn't do that from the beginning? Now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to wait till my next time it's my turn to speak because I'm going to do some research. I'm going to go to the NBA website and I'm going to look at Anthony Davis's shot chart because to me, he didn't dominate enough inside. You have the advantage against Sabonis. And this is what you do? Come on, Anthony Davis. I'm going to check up on the shot meter or the shot chart, but talk to me, Joe. What's up?
Well, there's a few things that happened in this game. Number one, Mike Brown had his perimeter defenders shade a second defender on D'Lo or just plain double team D'Lo to the point where it got him out of his rhythm. He didn't have any space to operate, and he dared LeBron, AD, Austin, which, by the way, that's why Austin was able to get open shots at the beginning of the game. And I think he hit 11 of the first 13 points for the Lakers. The problem with that is, and if you're any competent coach is, and I say problem for the Lakers, not a problem for Sacramento tonight, but they said, look, when D'Lo gets hot, there's this engine that revs up. We're going to let somebody else get hot for a while, and then after that, it's going to wear out, and we'll eventually get hot and do our thing. So that's what happened with D'Lo, and by doing that to D'Lo, he never was able to recover. He was never able to get into a rhythm. Darvin Ham wasn't able to adjust from Mike Brown's defensive schemes. He wasn't able to free up D'Lo in any capacity so that he could get a rhythm back. Coaching matters, and I find it ironic that Mike Brown continues to outcoach the Lakers, viciously, after his stay in LA, being considered one of the worst coaches in LA, which was never true, by the way. I just think Mike Brown didn't belong in LA. LA is not the kind of place for someone like Mike Brown. The fan base was bothering his family, like just a bunch of stupid stuff, and I'm not going to get into it, but Mike Brown ran circles around Darvin Ham, and really any competent coach can run circles around Darvin Ham. These last couple games that the Lakers won, you can say that Darvin Ham might have made some good calls or had some good rotations, but the problem is 2-3 games isn't enough. It needs to be a consistent game in, game out knowledge of what to do. And it seems like Darvin Ham is very good at saying, play harder, keep going, let's keep going, let's do this, let's do that, instead of you need to do this and you need to do that. And what they were doing against Harris and Barnes was even more hilarious. It doesn't seem like he's even saying anything to anybody. You got a guy that was hot and you're still going over the screens. I want to know why. We're never going to get that answer because I'm never going to be in an area where I'm going to be able to ask that question. And even if I do, I'll probably get a snide comment, and then you know how that'll go. But it was a clinic of terrible coaching. LeBron looked like his leg wasn't moving. AD looked like he wasn't moving, period. Austin put in an effort. Rui put in an effort. Spencer Dinwiddie needs to be taken to that farm that they take dogs, that they tell their kids, oh, the dog's gonna go into a farm. That's where, unfortunately, Spencer Dinwiddie needs to go. And in the end, the Lakers have no depth. They have no margin of error. If LeBron and AD and the other three guys aren't on, that they're playing catch up no matter what they do, and that's just a fact. So, did you do your research? Did you find something that you wanted to tell the crowd?
I mean, he took 3 shots from the outside. He took a three, one midi, and then one shot about like the free throw, a little like an inch in from the free throw line, which is, I guess, all right. But I mean, in my opinion, I'm thinking you got to come into this game like thinking with the mindset like I'm Shaq and I'm just gonna dominate this guy, because physicality, or like when you just look at like, their physicals, like, bro, Anthony Davis is so much bigger and stronger. And it's funny to me because I don't know if you caught it, Joe, but like every single time AD and Sabonis went up in the air together, it seemed like Anthony Davis ended up on the floor every single time. So crazy to me about that. But real quick, Joe, I think we can all agree that we saw this Lakers team collapse in the third quarter. We had 6 turnovers, and I feel like that's what really allowed the Kings to be able to run away with this game, besides just our terrible defense. But I gotta play a little bit of devil's advocate for D'Angelo Russell here, because I think everybody needs to calm down a little bit, because, and I'm not even saying this as a D'Angelo Russell, fan club president or whatnot. I'm just saying this like in general, because I know he had a bad game, but he ended up tonight with 6 points, 2 of 9 from the field. So he was trying to get him up. They just wasn't going in. And as a basketball player, I understand myself. Not every shot's going to go in every single night. But we got to chill with the dragging his name through the mud, talking about inconsistent, talking about this, talking about that. Like, I think we gotta chill. I mean, the game prior to this in Minnesota, a 13-point game, but hey, we got to win out of it. Doesn't really matter. Game prior to that, D'Angelo Russell saved us 44 points. Prior to that, 10 points, 6 assists. Prior to that, 26 points, 6 rebounds. Prior to that, 17 points. And then if we even start dating back to last month, I mean, 22 points to 18, 20, 22, 18, 11, 21, 30. And some of these nights he's having 17 assists game. I think that people just got to understand that this player, he comes with highs and lows. Like, that's who D'Angelo Russell is. But you cannot drop him off when he's at a low, because then he won't be able to get to his high. And I've said this so many times in this stream. He is a player that is all off rhythm, all off momentum. If he has a bad game and you're like, all right, cool, I'm sitting you because you had a bad game, then you're going to kill his rhythm. You're going to kill any momentum that he could get going. And in the last, 2 to 3 months that he's been consistently solid for us, consistently that third option for us, whether LeBron is in, he can play catch and if LeBron's in the game, he can play catch and shoot. If LeBron's not in the game, he can be the pick and roll playmaker. He can be initiating an offense. Since he's done that, it's been because Darvin Ham's continued to trust him through bad or good games, kept him in the starting lineup. So all I'm saying is, yes, terrible game tonight. I would have loved, at least 15 or more. Hopefully could have made a difference. But with players like that, it's the highs and lows. You're going to have to, if you guys are going to be here for the 44-point games and the 17 assist games and the games when he's able to take over, then I'm going to need you guys to chill out on the 6-point game.
I think the issue here is, I think some people are not really necessarily focused on the bigger picture here. Blaming D'Angelo Russell, you're going to need to come with some information behind that. If you're paying attention during the game, D'Angelo didn't get an open shot to save his life. He didn't get a simple screen to give him some space. This is a major issue that the Lakers have had all year and parts of last year as well. because you have a major deficiency in schemes, X's and O's, and the ability to tell your players where to be and what position they should be in. This is a terribly coached, absolutely terribly coached team. And if players don't drop 44, if LeBron isn't getting triple doubles, if AD isn't going 40 and 20 or 40 and 30 or whatever it is that he does, they have no shot. Now, how does that make sense? Okay, let me give you guys an idea. You guys saw Sabonis dominate AD again, right? He only shot the ball 10 times tonight. He scored 17 points. He didn't drop 40 and 20. He had 19 rebounds, and they looked like the easiest rebounds you could ever have. It didn't even look like he jumped the entire game. And he had 10 assists. He was cerebral. He was smooth. Didn't even look like he was giving any effort out. Harrison Barnes, you might as well just not cover him at this point. If you're not going to want to give any effort in covering him, then you might as well just stay at the rim so he can at least have a chance of getting the offensive rebound. De'Aaron Fox, relatively quiet game. I didn't see him really go crazy until that 5-minute spot in the fourth quarter. But before then, it was almost like I didn't even know he was playing. So what does that mean in the end? What it means is all these guys looked like on the back end of a back-to-back. They were the team that were playing on a back-to-back. They looked like they were resting and whooping your ass. That's what it looked like. And it's not just D'Lo. It's not just AD. It's not just LeBron. It was everyone. And more than anyone is an ill-prepared team unable to step up to a level that they need to step up to if they have any shot at doing anything. They fail in that arena all the time. It never fails. They lose these kind of games. They're talking about, well, this is a team game. Dude, you got to take it personally, dude. Losing to some guy 10 times, you're a top 75 player in his prime. How does that even – so it looks like Darvin Ham's leadership has seeped over to Anthony Davis. Or maybe Anthony Davis is that guy. Maybe he is the Darvin Ham of focus, for all we know. And LeBron James, by the way, played like complete doo-doo the first three quarters. He might as well have just sat down. If this was what it was going to be, at least the Lakers could have had better ball movement in this game, because the Lakers do transfer the ball much better when LeBron's not around, because LeBron tends to dominate the ball like he has and play a lot of ISO-type ball. Just overall, a terrible game in really every facet of this game, the big game of basketball.
Joe.
So with that, John, I'm gonna go over to Darth Sidious over here, Gerald Glassford / Gerald.
I know I'm in the shadows. Well, I'm not going to stay on very long because I'm already scaring Kurt Affair, because he already said I'm trying out for a horror movie in this. But I'm across the street from the Kia Forum, ironically. But I will say this, my friends. Please, mods, only time out and ban people, those idiots that are out there with the trolls that really are deserving of it. If somebody has just a differing opinion, they don't deserve to be timed out or banned. Please. Apologies to Luis. Sorry about that. I don't know who did that to you, man. Just because you called out D'Lo, that's not fair for you. I mean, you have absolutely that right to go ahead because you're saying something in the chat it's just not cool, guys. Come on, mods. You're better than that. All the power that you have as far as moderators, it's supposed to be used for specific purposes and not just for the fact we need to keep this a chat room that's able to go ahead and share diverse opinions that are still respected and listened to. And please, let's go ahead and keep it at that. That being said, John, you might want to cover your ears as the president of the D'Angelo Russell fan club. D'Angelo Russell sucked tonight. Let's just put it out there. LeBron sucked tonight. AD sucked tonight. And when you have your 1, 2, and 3 all playing lousy like that, you deserve to lose. When you don't play defense, okay, how many 3-pointers will you let Murray make before you decide to guard him? I guess you don't. I guess that number is not high enough yet. So making 5, making 6 3-pointers doesn't matter. I'm still not going to guard him. That's a coaching issue. That's a bad coaching issue right there. And on top of that, you're letting Harrison Barnes get into wherever he wants. You're letting the offensive rebounds from Sabonis happen continuously and passing it out for a 3-pointer after you get those offensive rebounds. Mistake after mistake after mistake. The perimeter defense was terrible. Your top 3 guys were terrible. Right from the get-go, it was absolutely outside of a good start for Rui and for Austin Reeves from offense. Outside of that, it was just absolutely no chance for the Lakers tonight, guys. And I'll leave it at that. But please, mods, allow good conversations and differing opinions, if they're respectful in this chat, to always happen. And I'll leave it at that.
Yo, guys, that's crazy. I'm going to be honest. Everybody's opinion is, everybody's opinion or whatnot. But I think some of these people that's freaking out about this D-Lo game is exactly what's wrong with Lakers Nation. I mean, you guys are like in the chat, you guys are freaking out talking about like, didn't you guys trade D-Lo? And then who's the other guy? That something Kardashian Dash or whatever that person's name is. He said, what he was saying, like, is basketball 2 months? D'Angelo Russell has been getting consistent basketball for consistent minutes for the last 2 months, and since then he has been consistent. I'm just gonna laugh at it because look, y'all, when he comes back around, which I'm telling you he will, I can guarantee you he will. I'm gonna remember everything y'all saying. That's all I'm saying. Everything that you guys, because players like that are up and down. That is the issue with players like that. I will give you that. He's an up and down type player, but you cannot freak out like this when he has a bad game.
They all had a bad game, John. It's not just him. The top 3 players they all had a bad game. All had a bad game at the wrong time for the Lakers. And then on top of that, poor coaching decisions, leaving the wrong guys open to hit 3 after 3 after 3. Again, it's a myriad of errors, and we'll just leave it at that. Joe's trying to mock me now with his horror images with his lights, so I'll leave it to that. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and say, you know what? It's not all on D'Lo. You got to go ahead and give LeBron and AD some of the F for failure today as well.
Absolutely.
And also Darvin Ham. It's a shared thing on this one, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, talk to us.
So we're gonna blame everyone, right?
Blame everyone. But I mean, the chat. Look at the chat. The chat is just ripping D'Lo a new one, like he needs to be traded, like as if we didn't just love him a couple games ago. But all right, all right, Joe.
No, look here. There's deficiencies that are never gonna go away. The deficiencies are you've got bad scheme, bad prep, bad information. Most of the time. The team is 36-31 after 67 games. There's 15 games left, and half of those games are going to be extremely difficult. It's not that they lost, it's the way they lose. They lose looking like they don't know what they're doing. And you have champions on this team. You have relatively pretty good players. D'Lo's a good player. Austin's a good player. Rui's a good player. And to be this inept, it's just not. It's again a fractured presence. It's a fractured team that will, in some cases, try to put itself together and scrap a couple wins here and there. But this is a team that's their record. They are a 36-31 team, and they are going to be a play-in team that is going to have to play way above their heads to even get in the playoffs. And if this is the goal of this team of being mediocre, then we're going to be wasting a lot of our time. The only way you can look at this situation is say, well, we're going to make some fun stuff with it. We're going to listen to the podcast. It's something I can listen to when I go to work, go to the store, whatever. Yeah, there's some positive there, but I don't feel good when the teams lose, especially when it's supposed to win. See, this is different than when Luke Walton and Byron Scott were trying to lose games so that they can get a better draft selection. Even at that point, I was still I couldn't stand watching them lose. But at least at that point, you kind of said, okay, well, what else can they do? But the fact that you have a pretty good, talented team here, at least the starting lineup, and yet they just can't seem to ever play against good teams consistently. It's always a hit and miss. It's always win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It never ends. And the way the decisions are being made, the lazy passes, the bad angles on bounce passes, the bad post positions. The Lakers were posting. They were giving AD the ball a foot away from the 3-point line consistently. Why? Why were they doing that? Well, if you look at how Sacramento was playing their defense, they were essentially drawing them up, or I should say the Kings were up on them the moment they crossed half court and forced them to start passing at that point. And Darvin Ham did not adjust to that. So imagine this. I want you to think about this. If you guys have a DVR and you don't have a life like I don't, I want you guys to go back and watch what was going on. The Lakers would get the ball, whether the Kings missed or hit the shot. They're bringing it up court. They get past the half-court line. Then you see aggressive, in-your-face, hip-to-hip defense. Why? Why? Because now it forces LeBron, D'Angelo, Austin, whoever has the ball as the point guard at that possession, it forces them now to have to move around, right? They have to now avoid the steal. And then a lot of times what will happen is they'll stop their dribble. Now they're stuck. Now they have to figure out a way to get the ball somewhere. It's an aggressive, tactical defense that they didn't adjust to. Because what would happen then is they're drawn that screener, and usually it was AD, the last guy you wanted there, to the 3-point line area. And now you're getting AD the ball a few feet in front of the 3-point line. What good is he there? He's not a good shooter anymore, or really wasn't ever. He can't dribble to the basket. It's going to be a turnover. He's not going to shoot threes. It's just no adjustments to that. And they were close in the first half. Imagine if they had adjusted to it, they might have had a larger lead than 5 points. They could have gotten maybe a 13, 14-point lead if they could adjust to it. And then as soon as halftime hit, Mike Brown figured out a scheme to say, look, these guys aren't going to do squat. We're gonna really start pressing them in the third quarter, and then they're not gonna, and that's what they did. They didn't score for almost 7 minutes from the field. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing because we have people doing a show in their studio, bedroom, rooms, whatever it is that you're at, telling this coach why he's getting his ass whooped. And if his excuse is, well, they got to play harder, you need to get out of the court, actually, at that point. You need to leave. You need to just go somewhere and don't coach basketball.
And stay. Go somewhere.
It's terrible. It is terrible. And the fact that you could visibly see LeBron had no energy tonight, and he never gets the accountability. I don't care who you are. LeBron James can make 10 amazing plays in a row. If he makes a lazy pass, I'm going to get on his ass. He knows better than that. there's a difference between lazy and a mistake. A mistake is trying to get the ball all the way to AD on an outlet pass. What was lazy was the angle of passes. He had 5 turnovers today. Really bad ones, too. Why are you pass? You're supposed to be a genius. Everyone tells me you're a genius. You've told everybody you're a genius. Geniuses don't make that pass. I don't care how tired, injured, and how many minutes you've played in the NBA. You're not saying that there's no reason to make that pass other than you're being lazy. And those things set a momentum. They now get the ball. They go they get into their possession. They shoot a 3. Now you just lost 3 points because of that, or could have been a 5-point turnaround or a 6-point turnaround. And then, of course, tonight, one of the banes of the Lakers' existence, offensive rebound. It seemed like every offensive rebound turned into a 3-point shot.
Man,
it's the same problem over and over again. They don't address it. They can't address it. They don't have enough depth. But at least the effort should be there. At least some kind of coherent coaching should be there. What is it?
Man,
it's a team issue. Darvin Ham is the biggest issue, but it's also a team problem. There's no killers on this team. There just isn't, and there never was. And I wasn't expecting AD to be a killer or LeBron. They've never been that guy. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. But in the end, where the Lakers are, where they are, and it's embarrassing to see the Sacramento Kings sweep them in a season, especially when you have AD and LeBron on your team. That's an embarrassment. I'm sorry.
It's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment.
But we are, for those of you who just chimed in, the Lakers lost tonight, 120 to 107, and it wasn't really that close in terms of the score. The Lakers were abhorrent in the second half, which is weird too, because you look at they didn't actually play that bad in terms of their percentages. They shot 14 to 32 from 3. They were almost 50% from the field, but they just had no energy for a team that had 2 days off and playing a team that was on a back end of a back-to-back. I don't know. It's just odd. It's
odd, Joe. It's odd, Joe. And I'm glad you brought up the LeBron lazy passes, because I don't know if you caught, but I counted at least 6 points. It was 2 Harrison Barnes 3-pointers that LeBron James had lazy defense and did not close out to. There was one that came in the right corner. There's another one that came a little bit closer to the top, but still more on like the wing. Both of them, I believe it was De'Aaron Fox, and one of the guards came in, drove the defense in, got a kick out to Harrison Barnes. Like I mentioned, first one was in the right corner. Next person over to rotate. If we're just following simple defensive basketball etiquette of just like, all right, if I come help, then you come rotate over, and then you come rotate over, and you rotate over. Just simple basketball, defensive basketball. Not even the scheme, but I guess just simple basketball, right? You don't, boom, one doesn't close out in the corner. All right, damn, Bron, I know you're 40 years old, but come on, dog. Next time, literally, I don't know if it was next time down court, or maybe like 1 or 2, 3 times next time down court. They get the exact same play. Kit, Fox, Monk, one of those guys get in the paint, draw the defense in, kick it. LeBron's the next rotation over. LeBron does not get out there. Harrison Barnes ended up hitting, like, how many threes he ended up finishing this game with? Like, let me see. Let me check. He ended up finishing this game with 8. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's insane. Okay, no, NBA.com is 7, but 7, 8.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he had 7 3-pointers. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So like I was saying, just I mean, come on, LeBron, you gotta be better on that. Want to get to Kurt's statement earlier. He was saying about in horror movies what happens to minorities. That was hilarious. And
that was in the 80s, man. Come on, get with it, man. Scream changed that.
Oh shit. And then Gary in the comments said, someone tell John his boy D-Lo sucks. I already talked about it earlier. earlier, Gary, this is what comes and goes. He's a rhythm player, and tonight he didn't have rhythm. I mean, he's been good. He's been solid. He's been consistent for the last 2 months, but tonight didn't show up. No excuses for it. Your shots don't go in every night. And then last thing that I want to say with is one. I mean, the chat is going crazy tonight. Appreciate all you guys here. But Stell earlier in the chat mentioned when I was talking about D'Lo, she's like, we can't. Or Stell said he's too inconsistent. We have 15 games left. We can't take an inconsistent up and down player. Our entire team is inconsistent. So what do you want to do? Just cut everybody? I mean, we can't do that. But yeah, so Bron defense, come on, man. I need you to at least rotate over, you know? I know sometimes he doesn't get back, but 6 points on just simply not rotating. Come on, man. Today was a big downer. Shout out Bloodhound.
Yeah, big downer because there's also a major issue that will not get solved this year for sure is the bench. The Lakers do not have a bench. They have no one that they could rely on that could come off the bench and play any consistent basketball. Spencer Dinwiddie played his worst game as a Laker today, which says a lot considering he's had a few bad games. Jackson Hayes, just the talent that the Kings have in the front court, even the smaller players are just drawing that guy out. He's toast, especially if he can't guard anybody at the perimeter. He's tried greatly. He's surprised me at how good he's done in his situation. Because I thought he'd be a bust for the Lakers this year, but he's improved, but it's not enough. That's the problem. It's just not enough. The Lakers don't have anyone that can come off the bench and drop 15 and 20 points on a consistent basis, or at least have 3 or 4 guys that can score 6 or 7 points like the Kings can. And that's it. It's 1 or 2 of the cogs in the starting lineup. If they're not up to snuff, there's no chance you're going to be able to make up for that using guys that are probably fresh off the bench. Hold on. Robert Wheeler, Joe, do you think LeBron approached this game like Lakers get time to the fourth quarter, then I'll take over? Because in the fourth quarter, guys, a lot of times what happens there is that the opponent will put the foot off the gas. And then someone like LeBron might think, look, I'm going to try to see if I can do some stuff here. But I think his motivation in the fourth, he didn't want to lose that double-digit streak. And if you guys have watched LeBron James play, sorry, LeBron sexuals, LeBron cares about LeBron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably through 10. 11, maybe he'll start caring about AD. But I'll even say 11 will be LeBron too. 12 is a safe number. So LeBron motivates himself because he loves LeBron. And LeBron loves double-digit scoring games so they can continue the streak. It just so happened that he hit a few and the Kings started missing a few shots. And then we got all, whoa, are we going to make another comeback? And then they hit 2 straight three-pointers right after that. Why? Because they left Harrison Barnes wide open. They left Murray wide open. I don't know what kind of strategy that is, but it is what it is. So Eduardo thinks I'm naive.
Thinks you're naive. Sean says he's a narcissist, Joe.
Oh, boy. I'm naive. Eduardo, I'm curious. Why am I naive?
Eduardo.
I'm ham-aphobic. LeBron was a step slow, so okay. I understand his foot's hurting him, but I'm going to say this again, folks. There's a difference between not being able to get somewhere because you're injured, because you're hurt, because you're old, and there's another when you make bad decisions because you're lazy. If you're going to be lazy, if you're not going to have the energy to do it, you need to go to the bench and say, hey, man, coach, I don't got it tonight. I don't got it tonight. I'm not. My hands are not moving the right way, and sometimes that does happen. It does happen, but there's a difference between lazy and not being able to do it. So that's
not trying.
Not trying
because he even closed out.
LeBron has to preserve himself, and we know this. He's the exception to the rule because he's doing something that no one has ever done. However, there is a difference. I'm going to say it again and again and again. There's a difference between being a step slow because you're hurt, because you're tired, versus making a pass with no steam on it with someone in front of the guy you're trying to pass to.
Yes, he has to preserve himself, but I mean, we've talked about this so many times on this, Joe. Like, him trying to preserve himself has burnt us like 5 to 10 games trying to preserve himself. So I think he already used up all his preservation, in my opinion. If that's even a word, he can't preserve himself anymore. He's got to play literally every single game in the best way, in the best possible form that he can, because he has tried to preserve himself and sat out so many winnable games that we ended up losing. And now we're in this position to where now, LeBron, you have no choice but to play every game and play at a high level because you chose to sit those other games. So that's where I'm at with that.
I'm at the let's speed up the season as quickly as possible and try and figure out what these guys are planning to do. The only interest I have this season is, well, there's two things.
New coach.
Number one, what are the Lakers going to do in the summer? And the other is making sure Denver gets to the finals.
Why is that?
Denver has to make it to the finals without any injuries, because if the Celtics, which looks like they're going to get to the finals this year because the East looks like they're as weak as they've ever been, if they get to the finals, the Denver has to be there. I don't trust Oklahoma City. I don't trust Minnesota. I don't trust the Clippers. I don't trust anyone in the finals except Denver against the Celtics. Because this season could get much worse. Much worse. There's so many bad things that can happen through all this. If the Lakers do not make it out of the play-in, that means they're going to get a lottery pick. Guess what, folks? There's a high probability that New Orleans will switch to that draft pick, despite the draft class being weak this year. It's still a lottery pick. You get the bird in the hand instead of 2 in the bush, right? That's the old saying. Well, not only can the Lakers lose their draft pick, that would be a lottery pick, which they desperately need some young damn blood in here. Whether they pick the right guy or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Then you obviously have to deal with the fact that there's a high probability that the Lakers are going to extend LeBron. And then you have to worry about, will the Celtics get 18? There's a lot of scary stuff here. It's very, very scary. And it's a lot of the fuel that's kind of driving this frustration.
See, Joe, we know that we're in different generations or whatnot, and I understand the Celtics being a big rivalry. Like I was watching all those, 09, 08, those classic Kobe and PG rivalries, Kobe and Celtics. I remember when Kobe said that after they lost to the Celtics, he was like, yeah, that was like the worst loss of my life. But then when he won, he's like, that was one of the best wins of my life. But I'm going to be honest, Joe, and I'm talking about this with my brother, too. My brother is 4 years older than me. I had him on a stream earlier, and I don't know. I don't feel like the rivalry, like I don't have that hate for the Celtics. I have more of a hate for the Warriors than I do for the Celtics, to be honest with you. Like at this point, I mean, I don't have hate for no one in my heart, but the Celtics, Joe, I'm not going to lie. They're looking good, really, if anyone in that West, because this thing that they got going this year with Kristaps and Drew Holiday, that kind of changes a lot, Joe. I'm not gonna lie, and it's hard to say this. I'm saying this as a Lakers fan, but I guess I get what you're saying, because I see people in the chat talking about if Celtics get number 18 before us, then it's kind of frustrating. But I don't know. Eduardo said, "Is he a fake fan?" No, Eduardo, I'm not a fake fan. I just feel like in my lifetime of watching basketball, and again, I've watched the Kobe.
I don't know. I think Eduardo has a point.
Oh, damn!
You don't
Joe.
like the Celtics?
It's not that I don't.
What
It's not
the
that,
hell's the matter with you?
I just think that look. I just think, in my opinion, like I freaking hate the Warriors more than I hate the Celtics. To be honest,
why would you hate the Warriors?
Well, because I live in the Bay Area. Okay, I live in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay,
I live in the Bay Area. I'm a Lakers fan, and they're always talking about this game, about how like the Warriors are the best team in Cali, and it's frustrating because every time I get to it, I'm like, all right, well, if you want to look at it like you want to talk about the facts, you want to look at championships, you really want to go down that road, I guarantee to you, I promise you that the Lakers are going to crush you every single time. But they want to talk about, oh, we have a recent championship, but I mean, there's nobody on that Warriors team that could even mess with what the Lakers got going on. That's why when the Lakers beat the Warriors and to put them out of the play-in, Joe, man, the Bay Area hated me that day. That night, I was all over the internet, all over my neighborhood. But yeah, I mean, some people may say I'm crazy or whatnot, but I got people agreeing with me. I appreciate y'all agree with me. It's still F the Celtics over everybody, right? I mean, it's still F anyone over no one over the Lakers. But in my opinion, all I'm saying is F the Warriors more than F the Celtics. So
78 years of NBA basketball. There are two teams sitting at 17 championships in that league. The Celtics beat the Lakers the first 8 times. First 7 times. Sorry. First 7 times. I can only imagine what they were feeling in the 60s. Only imagine. We lost to them in 08. I thought I was going to die. At least I saw them beat them in 10. And they narrowly freaking missed us in 02 and in 2020. Frustrated to all hell, man, because I wanted to. They would have, waxed them in 02. They were up 2-1 against Jersey in 2002 as well. And then, what was that?
I was like 3
at that time. So I'm going to give you a little history lesson.
All right, give me a history lesson, Joe.
I'm 46. I've been around since 78.
All right.
And I didn't get a chance to really absorb the 80s. I was too young. But I'm very versed in the history of it. I watched the 85 finals, every game. I've watched every game in 1980, 1982, 1987, 1988. I have them all on my man-made DVR. And then I just happen to have the box set of the 85 championship run. And then looking at those games, looking at those series, and looking at that decade in general, especially in 1984, one bad pass kept the Lakers from going 3-0 against them in that decade. One bad pass. We've discussed it enough on the show. If you all want me to talk about it, just so you guys know, in case Nightcap is merged with tonight's post game because of how close the time was, and of course Gerald not being here. So we're going to continue the show as the Lakers Nightcap. So Intel, if you're out there with all your moolah for me to drink, we're going to do it here all tonight on one show. So when you grow up knowing that 0 for 7 finally got beat on the 8th time, and that was because why? Because this is what the league was. It was a Celtic-Laker league, and the Celtics owned the league for a very long time. And from 1979 to now, the Lakers have gone that whole way to meet at the middle with this team. And for them to meet them at the middle and then have the other team get back what they had, that doesn't sit well for any Laker fan. I don't care about the Warriors. Warriors mean nothing to the Laker franchise. I know you live there. I lived in the Central Valley as well. I had to witness the Niners dynasties, which was horrid. I used to live around a lot of Middle Easterners who migrated to that area from Chicago. That was during the Chicago reign. It's terrible to be around obnoxious people who are winning.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. That's a Warriors fans.
And as far as this season, why it's important that the Celtics don't win this year is because they have to do wholesale changes due to not only possibly say, look, this team needs to go another route, but they're going to have to after they pay the Supermax to Jason Tatum, because it's very likely Jason Tatum is going to be a first All-NBA player this year, which means that'll trigger his Supermax contract. They already have a problem with depth. You set two Supermaxes on the same team, practically playing the same position, they're not gonna go very far in the future, no matter how good they are. So there needs to be a little luck on our side. There needs to be the luck that Denver needs to get to the finals intact, because if the Celtics meet the Nuggets in the finals, they're going to get squashed, probably in 5 games. If Jason Tatum goes crazy for 1 game, for sure, you can say 6. But I don't see the Celtics beating Denver in the finals. And then, of course, then we're going to have to deal with, are the Lakers going to really consider extending LeBron? If you're going to extend LeBron, you better have a freaking idea of who you're going to bring in as the third guy and have depth. Can you do that? Do you have the assets? Who knows? We'll have to find out. But the Lakers get waxed tonight, 120-107. AD 0-10 against dominating Sabonis. Dominant Sabonis. I'm just going to call him Dominant. Dominus is his real name. And it looked like he wasn't even breaking a sweat, which made it even more insulting. LeBron looked like he couldn't move. Probably shouldn't have played today if that was the case. And, of course, the ire of everyone's desire. I know I just threw a bar in there. D'Angelo Russell had probably one of his worst games of the year. And if you all watched the game, you would see that the Kings made a conscious effort to make sure he was taken out of the game, and he was taken out of the game very, very easily. So with that, John, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Lakers have 4 games at home.
Okay.
Before they go on the dreaded gauntlet second 6-game road trip at the end of the season. Do you see this team winning all 4 games at home?
Dang. Honestly, I don't. I think the frustrating part is, like, us taking an L this game really hurts us, because if we would have won today, dude, that would have put us on a 3-game winning streak. Okay, we would have been feeling great coming off a 3-game winning streak. Next, we got the Warriors, who has also been struggling, like us. They're right under us, right there at that 10th seed, or they keep battling with us between flip-flopping between 10th and 9th. So we have that game. That's a winnable game. Imagine we're coming off a 3-game winning streak, and then we have a team like the Warriors that it's like a winnable game, a team that we're arguably just straight up better than, so we could beat the Hawks, who, and then after that game we have the Hawks, who just lost Sadiq Bey to its season-ending ACL tear. That right there would have did what the Warriors, if we win that 4 games, Hawks 5 games. We could have gone on a 5-game winning streak, Joe. I think that could change absolutely everything. But shoulda, coulda, wouldas don't really matter. We didn't win to the King. We didn't beat the Kings, so we lost. So coming into this Warriors game, I hope we get a win in all four of these games. But what I will say is we absolutely cannot drop the ball on the Warriors and Hawks. The 76ers, now we're talking about a team that that is struggling, with no Joel Embiid. I know Tyrese Maxey's been in and out, but if Tyrese Maxey's there, yeah, good luck. The way Tyrese Maxey's been killing the league, I mean, I've watched a couple of 76ers games, and he has just turned himself from a 1B to 1A as soon as Joel Embiid has been out, and he's done a damn good job of it. This is his coming out party. If you haven't gone to watch 76ers, go check him out. Tyrese is insane. But I say all this to say, we can handle I think we can take the Warriors next game. because we're a better team. We should take the Hawks because they're on low vibes. And then 76ers and Pacers. I don't know if we can do that. So what I'll say, Joe, to answer your question is I hope we at least get 3, but no worse than, hopefully we better not go no worse than 2-2. But realistically, I think we can get 3. And that's me being optimistic, because if we're gonna go off how this season has been, which is inconsistent, we're 2 it should be like how Eduardo said, 2-2. What about you, Joe? What did you think?
So the record I was hoping for was 7-3. I started the 10-game window after the Washington Wizards win. It was that Denver game, because I don't count the Washington Wizards. They're useless to me. So March 2nd was the beginning of the month. So you have Denver, then you Oklahoma City, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Sacramento. Looking at that schedule, I was hoping that they would win the first Sacramento game at home. I had a feeling that they'd probably lose to Denver and they'd probably lose to Sacramento on the road. I thought they would lose this game. The way they lost it is what irritated me. Not that they lost. The way they lost is what bothered me tonight. But I kind of had scheduled this as a loss. And it was worse, even more, because I thought they would at least take the March 6th game at home. Then, if they had won one of let's say the Sacramento one at home, they're looking at what would that be? They would have won 4 in a row, and they'd be 4-2 going into these last 4 games at home, being the favorite in every game. Golden State, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Indiana. They would have been favorites to win each one of those games. So there was a chance that they could have. There is a chance that they could win all 4 games. I'd say Golden State's going to be the hardest one. I know Indiana's a scoring type team, but Lakers seem to play Indiana pretty well at home anyway, so I'm not worried about that. And as far as Maxey, Philadelphia's without Embiid is really not that scary. I think the Lakers can take those guys as long as they don't play like they did tonight. And they're going to have to, if they win these next 4 games, and the record before, I keep kind of jumping over this, so I need to explain it better. But by beating Sacramento at home, that would have allowed them these last 4 games to maybe lose 1 out of the 4 and be okay. They would have gone 7-3, which was to me a pretty good percentage of winning. Now they have to win all 4 of these games to get that 7-3 record. If they do that, then they're putting themselves in a better position to go on the road and see if they can go 4 out of 6. They can go 4 out of 6. They've kind of done what they're supposed to do. And then the remaining games, which are going to be 3 games at home, and then they're going to finish the season in Memphis and in New Orleans. And then at that point, you can look at that as, can you win 4 of the last 5 games? It's a tiring analysis. It's a tiring one. The if, the what, could, should, it gets really tiring. I just would like to go into every game knowing that these guys are prepared, they're able to adjust, they're healthy, and I say healthy as in they're able to play being hurt. Because if you're injured, you're not supposed to play. But if you're hurt at this time of year, that's what separates the big boys from the small boys, is being able to play through that pain.
Tell him, Joe. Tell him, Joe.
That's it. That's kind of where I'm at on that. We've reached the hour mark, which means, folks, you have officially transferred over to the Lakers Nightcap. What does that mean? Now, I'm going to show you guys that I don't need to get paid to drink, although Intel, it does help. So I'm going to start off I didn't feel like having a drink. I'm going to have a shot, okay? Having a tequila shot to wallow in my sorrow.
Here we do. Let's do it, Joe.
Wallow in my sorrow. Intel, wherever you are, I'm going to have a shot for everyone. Here we go. Anybody else out there? Shot, drink, whatever it is, water.
Some water.
Salute to everyone.
Salute, Joe. Some good water.
Woo. So we kick off the nightcap with a tequila shot. 99,000 horas.
Horas.
That means.
Horas sounds like hours in Spanish or Portuguese.
So
Eduardo said, my apologies, Joe. I was.
Eduardo is not familiar with my game. So, Eduardo, you need to tell me what exactly you would like to know about the game. Because I play the game really well.
You play the game.
Can you defend better than a traffic cone cool pro?
Eduardo, let me tell you a little bit about Joe's game, okay?
Go ahead, John. I don't want to brag,
couple of nightcaps ago, okay? We had I believe it was Intel Wild. We had one of our great family Lakers Fast Break family members say, "Yo, Joe, $50 for 3 shots in 90 seconds." Now I'm gonna be honest with you, Eduardo. I think it was less than 90 seconds. Joe took him down. Whap, whap, whap. And if you really want to see a crazy one, Eduardo, drop your email in the chat. I have a link for you because, Joe, I went back and watched the one where you were slurring your words. That one was freaking hilarious.
I could feel
so if you're not familiar with this game, stay tuned. Keep coming around.
I'd say the best one that I enjoyed was the 6 shots in 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
6 shots in 30 minutes. I didn't slur my words this time. I went into the deep brainstem or frontal lobe area, and I said, nah, I'm not slurring this time. I'm going to enunciate. 6 shots in 30 minutes, and I think Intel dropped $150 on that one.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's look, we're here to
entertain.
We're here to entertain. This is an entertainment show.
Tell them, Joe.
There's going to be some people. Earlier today, I had a comment that someone was saying that he didn't, and this was apparently a Kings fan, saying that he didn't think that Anthony Davis was less than Sabonis. Now, in most cases, he's right. In the grand scheme of things, he's right. But then I thought, is he? Is he?
No, he's not right at all, Joe.
You have a player who cannot beat another player 10 times. You have any idea how many games that is? You got a guy who's got more triple doubles than you even.
And double doubles.
I mean, I'm not saying as an overall thing, but he's whooping his ass last couple of years.
He's whooping his ass last couple of years. But Joe, let's be honest. If this was a one-on-one game, it'd be a little different.
True, but we're not playing a one-on-one game. If we played one-on-one game, Kobe Bryant would have been the greatest player that ever lived. Agreed.
But I think what you told me was that some Kings guy said that Sabonis is a better player. I think a better player, in my opinion, well, the way I evaluate a better player is like, can you stop me? Like if we were to say, screw all this help side defense, give me the ball. Can you stop me? If you could stop me, I think you could be a better player. Can you stop me and score? If you can do that, you're a better player. You can't stop me. You can't be a better player than me. Robert said, John, what would the Lakers need to do in order for you to consider this season a successful season? Fire Darvin Ham. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm in the fan club of winning. Okay, nothing else matters to me besides winning. So I think the only thing for me for it to be the successful season would be winning, right? Would be getting all the way to the finals and winning it all. Because I mean, last season we went to the Western Conference Finals, guys, and on paper we got better. But I think the results might be worse than what it was last season. So what I will say, because I want Joe to get to this Intel Wild super chat that we got going on here. What I'll say before I wrap it up here and hand it to Joe is the only way for me to consider a successful season is if we freaking win some, baby. We're winners over here, right, Joe? I wanted to say no shots, but when we
because we're good enough, we're smart enough, and God darn it, people like us. That's a little before your time too, Johnny. What are you?
5 before my
21?
I'm 25.
You're 25?
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 19, man.
I just turned 25, though. That's crazy because my daughter makes me feel like I'm old.
Yeah, why? She keeps you up?
She keeps me up, Joe. It's crazy. She keeps me up, keeps me working.
You know how you solve that problem?
Stress. You're going to tell me? I think you can. Does it start with the W?
When you have a wife takes care of that stuff. Come on.
I got a good lady.
You think I'm the kind of guy that wakes up in the middle of the night? I got to do shit. Can't be getting up in the middle of the night. Come on, man.
What about so what are these your kids don't ask like, Dad, can you come sleep with us?
My kids are obsessed with their mother.
Oh, okay.
Obsessed.
It's a good mother.
Okay. I'll sit there sometimes on the couch and they'll find out that their mom's on the house and go, "Where's mom? Where's mom? Where's mom?" I'm right here. Right here. I have to make an effort for them to say hi, hello, how are you? Give me a hug, give me a kiss. So yeah.
But I know your love for them, Joe. I know the heart.
Oh, no, they know that. But see, that's the thing. That's the burner there is they're so used to the affection, right?
Yeah.
The hugs, the kisses. I always used to tell my kids, I used to say, when you guys hug and give daddy a kiss, it gives them energy.
Yes.
So their whole life, all they've had is hugs and kisses in the morning, at night. And really the point of that is it's really understanding that they know what love is. Kids need love, number one.
Yes.
You love the children. The children are probably going to come out. They're going to come out well 99% of the time. Love is the most important thing for children.
That'd be crazy. To see you hugging and kissing would be crazy too.
In my mind, if something were to happen to me, that at least that day they were able to give dad a hug and a kiss. If that does happen. So that's kind of how my mind works. But enough of this mushy stuff.
I can't imagine you giving a hug. I can't imagine, Joe.
No, man, no, I would never do that to them. No, my kids my kids have a nice comfortable fear of their dad. There's not really a lot of things that happen.
Can we talk about something real quick, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, and I've told this a couple of times with my girl. My girl doesn't necessarily agree with me on this, but maybe we can have this conversation. I think
it's the Nightcap. We go off the cuff here with the Lakers. So if you guys have a problem with that, you can suck it.
Straight up, man.
Go ahead.
All right, Joe. Question, or I guess what's your thought on this? Like, I think that like my daughter needs to have, like how you said, like a healthy fear of me, right? Like and it can't be because like my girl says like, oh no, but then she's gonna grow up like scared of you. But it's not that I want her to be scared of me. It's just that I just want her to know that like I can get to a certain point that's like, yo, stop all the playing, like before this really gets bad. Is that bad parenting, Joe? That's not bad parenting, right?
So what does your kid do?
I mean, no, she doesn't necessarily do anything that's like crazy. That's yet warned me or granted me to go off like that. But I just want her to know, like, if my tone gets to a certain tone, like, stop. It's time to go home. Like, for example, if we're like at the park and she doesn't want to go home and she's throwing a temper tantrum in front of everybody, like that to me is unacceptable. It's like, yo, you are gonna chill out and you need to listen to what I'm saying. So if my tone gets to a certain level, I'm not playing. And I think for her to know that I'm not playing, she needs to have like a healthy fear of me. Wouldn't you say that that's like normal?
There's a firm discipline that I had, and it worked for both my kids.
Okay,
and
you got two kids?
I have 2 girls. Yeah.
Okay.
That I feel that I don't know if it's different for people. I don't know. I can't figure that out. I guess everybody's different. But when we would go to the park, of course they didn't want to leave.
Mhm.
But what happens there is there's a negotiation that starts to brew there.
Okay, like we'll get you a Happy Meal if we leave.
I wouldn't say it's a bribe,
Okay,
but there's precedent set even before then. Okay, we're going to go to the park and then we're going to come back and eat. So they already know that they're going to go somewhere knowing that there's a task afterwards. I never had a problem with my kids disobeying me. They're 11. Well, one's going to be 11 here in about 4 days. The other is going to be 14 in June. They've never disrespected me. They've never not listened to me. How that happens is when they ask a question, and this is something that unfortunately it kills me when I see this. When they ask a question, when they have a comment, when they walk into a room, when they acknowledge something, everything is, what's up, babe? What's going on? What do you need? It's always love. It's always love. The simplest thing. And when children have that love all the time, they're not going to, in my book, from what I've seen, they're not going to be that unless you're this one lady. I mean, I was just crushed me when I see things like this. This poor kid, she's probably 6, 7 years old. Children, they don't know what's going on. They're exploring. They're understanding things. And the poor kid, man, she asked a simple question. It wasn't even anything bad. And the mom's like, "Get over here." I'm like, "You stupid bitch." I was like, "Really? That's how you talk to your kid?" If the kid was running around putting their head in the freaking bee's nest, like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, I get that. But this kid's walking, they're being children. And it just breaks my heart that happens more than you think. And the COVID thing, the one thing that broke my heart more during the COVID time was the stories I would hear about how the domestic part of things with kids went up because the kids were at home.
That's
now
crazy.
I was having there was 2 things that during COVID that I loved. Number one, my kids were home because I work from home. I work in my office. I can go wherever I want usually. The fact that I was with my family for almost 6, 7 months every day hanging out, I loved it. I could do that every day until I die. But of course, my kids have a certain way of wanting to live. My wife kind of started getting cabin fever. The other part was traffic. I remember driving through LA at 1:00 in the afternoon and no one was around. I thought I was in I Am Legend. I thought the world was ending. It was the freaking craziest, badass thing I've ever seen. I was like, dude, I'm on a 101 at 1:00 and there's no traffic. There's like 3 cars. I was like, hell yeah, keep going. I gotta get somewhere. So with that, John, we could talk more about the kid thing because I'm not saying this to be arrogant or boasting. If there's one thing God put me on this planet to do, is to raise children.
I like that.
Okay?
I like that.
My children love their dad, love their mother. When they love their mother, see, this is my culture, okay? Culture of daddy's little girl stuff, that's not how I grew up. That's not how we grew up learning that way of life. It's not about, the dad is the protector. Number one, provider as well. When the children love the mother, obsess with the mother, those kids will 99% of the time turn out very good.
Yes.
And you have to, and I always say you have to protect that. They
I
have
love
to
my
love
mom.
the mother. It sounds weird. And when I've said this to other women, they almost melt when I tell them. I go, no. My culture, the way we grew up, our heritage, our ancestors, the mother has to be loved first. The kid came from the mom. That's the most important thing. If that is established, then the children are going to come out very, very well. And with that, Intel, where the hell are you? You just drop money and leave. What the hell? I'm gonna take 4 shots. What is it?
That's
one
crazy.
every 2 minutes. Okay, so folks, I'm gonna get your stopwatches or whatever it is that you got going on over there. We'll get back to basketball. I know you guys are getting antsy here, but
the people who don't have kids
I'm
are like, I don't give a shit.
shots. I'm gonna take 4 shots, 1 every 2 minutes. Here's shot 1. The first one didn't count.
So what I gotta do is start a 2-minute timer?
Yes, 2-minute timer. Go ahead. All right, guys.
All right.
So salud.
Go ahead.
Oh man, that one didn't go down well.
See.
Oh. Wow. I gotta get this one ready. God damn. Ugh. I gotta do 3 more of these.
I think that'll be a great nightcap. Joe, get some good sleep tonight.
Well, I got spin class at 9:15, so at least I'll be able to sleep in a little bit.
What's that, like cycling class or something like that?
Yeah, it's just spin for 45 minutes. Music, gorgeous women everywhere. It's really nice. What do you mean no chaser? It's water. With ice, actually. I don't even have any liquid.
Joe, you got a minute left.
I know. Time goes by quick when you're avoiding.
Time goes by quick. Oh, you got a minute left, Joe.
Okay, so the Lakers. Who had a good game tonight? Who really busted their rear end tonight? I already know. I'm just trying to see if anybody else knows.
Rui.
Let's talk about something good tonight.
Can we talk about Rui? Can we give Rui some love?
Rui
Hachimura.
Yeah, Rui played well tonight. He only missed a couple shots, right?
Yeah. I think he missed like 2-3 shots.
I'd say Austin and Rui pretty much tried to carry this team as far as they could, but then just ran out of gas. They each played 36 and 37 minutes. And if you look at the starting lineup, I mean, they're all playing above pretty much mid 30s and up. LeBron played 40 minutes. AD played 41 minutes, which is a tragedy. The fact that they played 40 minutes tonight, getting their ass kicked is just it almost makes it a loss and a half at that point. Joe is the best Lakers tonight for being able to watch the game. Joe is the best Lakers tonight for the being. Thanks, man. Thanks, Frankie. I appreciate it, brother. Are we at number 2? Are we at 2 minutes yet?
That minute already hit, Joe. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, Harry, 2 minutes here.
You still have 1 more out of this too?
2 more.
Oh God, that's crazy.
Oh shit! Almost rimmed it. Damn. Ugh.
Joe, you're in SoCal, right?
Yeah, I live in Temecula, or the suburb of Temecula. It's called Winchester.
My brother, the one I was on live with earlier, when you were like, "What the hell is this?" He lives in Anaheim, so I'm gonna come through.
This is what I'm drinking. It was a Christmas present. Nothing fancy, just tequila from Mexico.
Thanks to Joe's stomach might not keep up.
Luckily, I had something to eat. I had a good rigatoni and sausage tonight with some bread. Yeah, it is. Sean, honestly, it does feel like straight gasoline. You know what's funny, actually? You know what, Trace? Legit gasoline, okay? My buddy in San Diego, Brian Duarte, if you're listening, we love you, bro. And he had some health problems recently, but he's doing well. So he has this white bottle or this clear bottle just sitting on top of his bar, and he's got all the other drinks sitting there. And then I go, what's that clear bottle there? Is that tequila? Is that a tequila? Is that a vodka? He goes, oh no, that's moonshine. I said, oh really? I go, what's it about? He goes, you want to take a shot? I was like, no, let me check it out. So guys, remember, let me know when it's 2 minutes.
It's been 2 minutes, Joe.
It's already been 2 minutes? All right, shit. Here. Salute again.
God damn. So another 2-minute break and then you're done?
God dang it. This stuff sucks. The things I do for Gerald, man.
Gerald Glassford.
By the way, guys, Gerald lost the battery in his phone sitting outside the Sizzler, so he'll be back tomorrow. But so he brings this stuff down. I smell it. Straight up rubbing alcohol with gasoline. Not rubbing alcohol, not gasoline. Straight up mixed both. I'm like, what the hell is this? He goes, I'll bet you can't take a shot. So, of course, I'm a guy. I'm in college. I'm like, my boy John was there. His name was John, too. I go, you want to take a shot? Of course, he bitched out. I start calling him a bitch. And, you're a bitch. And all that testosterone shit. I was like, pour me a shot.
Straight up.
So he pours me the shot and swig it. Oh, my God, what a mistake. It felt like molten lava going down my throat, through my esophagus, down to my stomach. My stomach felt like what I would assume would be like someone who has chronic ulcer. Like I could feel in my thoughts, like my stomach was like, what the did you just drop on me, man? I got acid down here and you just threw more acid on me. So are we at 2 minutes again?
Illusion. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Are we at 2 minutes again? All right. Intel, thank you again for the 50, the super chat. Everyone, salute for the 5th time.
That's crazy. There you go, Joe. Salute, Joe. Salute.
Oh.
Salute. I didn't think that was a good one. I think that's a good way. Wrap it up, Joe. I ain't gonna lie. I probably gotta skedaddle out of here, Joe, but I love being on a nightcap with you. And
you done for the night?
Yeah, I'm done for the night. I gotta go.
All right.
I'll
continue the story. Johnny, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow or the next day, brother. Thank you.
Sir. All right, brother. I will see you.
Take care, man. So, to finish the story, so I take a shot of this moonshine, and my stomach, my throat, everything's just burning up. And I'm like, what the hell do I do? This stuff tastes like garbage in my chest and everything. He's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're going to have to just deal with it. I said, give me some silver Patron. Let me see if I can drown it with some other drink. I take the drink, drop a silver Patron drink there. Didn't help. Freaking for like 2-3 minutes. I'm like, God damn, man, what the hell did you give me? Are you sure this was a drink? Blah, 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 blah. Finally, I don't know why, it just dawned on me. There was this commercial at that time where, and it's supposed to be a funny commercial, where the owner of a dog gives the dog a spoonful of peanut butter. And the dog's just sitting there going the whole time. I don't know why that popped in my head. I said, give me some peanut butter. He's like, what? I'm like, give me peanut butter. Give me a spoon and a peanut butter. I got to get this. If I'm going to burn here, at least let me have something that's not destroying my taste buds. So that gets me a big-ass scoop of peanut butter. I take it, and man, instantaneously, the flavor went away. I started swallowing it, and it started coating my stomach, my throat, everything. And then I was like, oh. And of course, my boy John, who pitched out on it, he's just like, I told you, man. I told you. So there's a happy story here, though. So that particular moonshine was trash. Never again. I'll never forget that smell. Years later, I meet a gentleman in Ouray, Colorado. Ouray, Colorado is like the Switzerland of America. The mountains, snow, beautiful area. It looks like Switzerland. So I'm there at an event from one of my friends. He's having an event selling off-road stuff. I was there helping him set up things. And then, yeah, what's up, Mike? So I'm there doing stuff for my buddy, and I meet a gentleman who's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We end up being friends till this day. And they're at this campfire, and I happen to be walking by. I didn't know they were there. They're like, "Hey, Joe, what's up, man? What's going on, Ham? Come on, hey, come hang out at the fire, this, and that." So, yeah, sure. I'm just kind of lounging around, walking around, doing nothing. So I sit down, and they got this group that's doing whatever. They're talking. And then he comes out with this peach-looking moonshine. And right away, I'm like, as soon as I heard moonshine, I'm like, no way. I will never touch moonshine, man. I had a bad experience with that stuff. He goes, Joe, calm down. This is different. I want you to take a swig of this and tell me if it tastes good. Just don't trust me. Can you trust me? Didn't take long. I knew, Doug, good guy, one of my best friends now. So he gives me this moonshine, and it tastes probably the best alcohol I've ever tasted in my life. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just drinking it, and I'm just drinking it, and I'm just drinking it. And I'm like, at the end of the night, I'm like, hey, man, you got any more of that moonshine? So like anything else in life, folks, there's bad and there's good. There's bad bananas and there's good bananas. There's bad avocado, there's good avocado. That night, I changed my tune on moonshine. So if you're going to ever have moonshine, make sure it's coming from someone reliable, not my deadhead friend from California. Probably want to go find somebody down south that can actually do it on the cuff or off the cuff, I should say. And at least at that point, you'll be able to enjoy the drink instead of feeling like you just died. Yes, it was Sunday. Yes, he had a friend that I think he might have bootlegged it. I don't know. I think they do a lot of that down south. I think they made a show about it actually. And but it was great. It was a peach moonshine, and you could taste a little bit of the peach, and it was smooth and it tasted good. The aftertaste was good. I didn't feel all warm or anything. It was a perfect drink. If I had, let's say, like popcorn even, or like peanuts, almonds, it actually would have, you would know that it would like kind of mesh together real well, and you could drink it all night. Yep, moonshine started in the South. Race car drivers were big into it. Well, they were big into it because it helped pay for their vehicles. They'd sell it, they bootleg it, and the money that they got from it, they put it back in their cars. Joe, who did you think is the three most important players on the Lakers? AD, LeBron, and D'Lo. Although Austin sometimes can take the third spot, and Rui as well. But reality-wise, AD, LeBron, and D'Lo. D'Lo has the talent that Rui and Austin don't have. He can shoot from anywhere. His release is fast. He can get into certain positions just from his veteran feel. He can get to mid-range. He can get to the elbow. He can shoot the three. He can shoot it fast. He can shoot it slow. He can slither in and around things, I'd say. So, yeah, D'Lo, LeBron, and AD. Joe, do you like beer at all? Yeah, Jeremy, I will drink beer. I will drink beer. I'm not a beer drinker, though. I don't come home and drink a beer. Beer is usually most drinks in general is usually a social event. It's usually with people I know. Uncle Jesse and the Duke boys were also big into moonshine. That is true. Suns versus Nuggets, Joe. Spill your thoughts. Guys, the Nuggets are 10 of 11 the last 11 games. They're ramping up. Y'all got to start getting ready for the Nuggets to make a run here. They're going to solidify the first seed here in the next 3 weeks. And then they're going to play a team out of the play-in that's probably not going to be able to give them much of a distraction. And I'm scared to say that if the Lakers make the play-in, that's probably where they're going to end up. The Lakers are going to have to get the 7th seed to avoid Denver. They have to get the 7th seed and obviously win that play-in game. Otherwise, If they sit at 8, 9, or 10, that means even if they make it in, they're going to be an 8 seed. And I'm all but sure that Nuggets are going to be the first seed. They do look unbeatable because they've got that. They have the MVP and they have role players that understand their roles, and they're extremely talented and they're extremely big, and their coach is pushing all the right buttons. Suns and Celtics, only teams with real hopes against the Nuggets. I don't know, Eduardo. I don't know. I don't think the Suns are good enough to beat Denver. I think that the Suns played Oklahoma City, Minnesota, the Clippers. Yeah. But I don't think anybody's going to beat Denver. I just don't. No, I don't think anybody's going to beat Denver if they're healthy. If Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. have a history of getting injured, that's why that's always kind of, you want to be cautious with that. But if those guys are not injured going into the finals, they're going to take it. And I had picked the Denver Nuggets to have the sophomore slump because it's very difficult to repeat. But it's looking like they're proving us wrong. If they stay healthy, they're going to win it all. Joe, you picking Jokic top 20? That's a tough one Sunday. Jeez, we just started talking about that today. I guess, how can you not? 3-time MVP, likely. If he wins a championship, 2 championships, probably likely another finals MVP. The question now is, here's the question I have for you. If he wins his 3rd MVP, wins his 2nd championship, and his 2nd finals MVP, and he could end up winning a Western Conference finals MVP as well, does he start to creep into the top 5 center? That's the real question. That's the real question. Now, I got something I'm going to throw you guys' way, and you tell me if you guys can roll with this. I know some of you are young, but some of you also know the history of the NBA. Nikola Jokic is what Bill Walton was when he was healthy. If Bill Walton didn't have foot issues and ankle issues, he would have been the 70s and 80s version of Nikola Jokic. And that's a dangerous basketball player. Team-oriented, not selfish, doesn't care about stats, limelight, all that crap. Can throw an outlet pass, can throw a pass to the 3, can do a drop pass, has an answer for every scenario and executes it well. The only thing is, he can shoot threes where Walton didn't really shoot threes, but that's how the NBA was. I don't really count that. He was until he was. So Bill Walton was an all-time great center and Hall of Famer. He's like the Gale Sayers of basketball. He had a short prime window. Terrell Davis is another one as well. Short prime window, but he was so dominant in those years, few years. Won a championship, won the MVP for Portland, still the only title Portland has ever won. And he also helped the Celtics in '86 by winning 6th Man of the Year, and arguably had in that decade, which was the most competitive decade that I believe, from my research and my knowing, the most competitive era of basketball. And a lot of people say that the '86 Celtics were the best team in the '80s, that particular year. I don't really know if that's true. They lost 1 game at home that whole year, by the way. And I think because the Lakers weren't in the finals, they ended up getting beat by Houston in the Western Conference Finals that year in 5. No one really knows truly. Like, if they had played the Celtics, if the Lakers had played the Celtics that year, the Celtics had beat them, I think it would have been solidified that they were the best team in that decade. Houston was kind of like, but I think people slept on that '86 Houston team. They had Ralph Sampson before his injuries, and they had Hakeem Olajuwon on that team. They were a damn good team. Took them to 6 as well. So it was no slouch. I think if Houston had played anybody but Boston that year, they might have beat them. But yeah, so Jokic if he wins his third MVP and a second championship with a Western Conference Finals MVP and a Finals MVP, I don't think you can argue against that he's not in the top 20 at that point. I think just it's what's weird about it is that seeing someone that was picked in the second round being what he is. We've never seen anything like this in the history of the NBA. We've never seen a second round pick win 3 MVPs and possibly 2 championships as the main guy. It's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty phenomenal. It's very close to almost saying that he's the Tom Brady of the NBA. No reason for him to be as good as he is, and he is. Hakeem was a center 10 times. He entered defensively. Give me something I cannot disprove. Wait, what was that, Darren? Hakeem was a center 10 times? Joker over Embiid, easy. Joel will never win a ring. If Reeves didn't get hot start, I reckon we get beaten by 20. 80s over to Sunday. It's hard to say that because you had 26 teams in the 80s. And the 2000s, there was a shift going on. A lot of things changed in the 2000s. Number one, the salary cap got harder and harder to acquire talent. The other is the implementation of the zone after the 2002 season. And David Stern and the competition committee voted to do that because they needed to apparently slow down Shaquille O'Neal. I still say to this day that because of the zone being allowed in the NBA after the 2002 season, that cut Shaq's prime by at least a couple of years. And might have cost them an extra title. And the extra title was 03. Why does that make sense? Because the San Antonio Spurs used to run a pseudo disguised zone, the 1-2-2 zone. But the refs never really called it. So now, a year later, with the Lakers already being taxed going to the finals 3 years in a row, Shaquille going to surgery and kind of setting the Lakers back that year where they had to make up some ground and get a 5th seed after all that. And then you allow your rival at its peak that advantage to be able to finally really play the zone the way it was supposed to. And of course, the Spurs ended up beating them in 6 and going on to winning the championship. The zone coming in after the 2002 season cost the Lakers a four-peat, in my opinion. And when you see that shift, that big of a shift in 2000, it's hard to gauge which decade was better. If I had to pick, it's got to be the 80s because of the teams, the players, when they were playing. Think about it for a second, guys. Just think about this, okay? 1980 through 1989. I'm gonna read to you the champions: Lakers, Celtics, Lakers, Sixers, Celtics, Lakers, Celtics, Lakers, Detroit. That was the 10-year span. And who was on those teams? Lakers in 80, Kareem, Magic. 81, Larry Bird, McHale, Parrish. 82, Magic, Kareem. 83, Moses Malone goes to Philadelphia. Dr. J gets his first championship. 84, Larry Bird, McHale, Parrish, DJ. 85, Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Byron Scott, AC Green. 86, Walton, Bird, Parrish, McHale, Danny Ainge. 87, Magic, Kareem again. Following year, Magic, Kareem. And then, of course, Detroit in 89. You had the greatest players that have ever played basketball anywhere in that decade. You could take the 75 team and you could probably pick all 75 players from the 80s. Alex English, George Gervin, like all those guys, and just put them as a 75. That's how competitive that decade was. the 2000s still had amazing players. Tim Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, all those guys. But the Eastern Conference was weak. Some say the West was weak in the 80s, but you can't be weak when you have a West team going to the finals 8 out of 10 times. See what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. Plus, you look at some of the teams in the West. You had Utah that took the Lakers to 7, Karl Malone, Stockton. You had Dallas Maverick teams with Roy Tarpley and Rolando Blackman, Denver, Alex English, George Gervin in San Antonio. You got a lot of these teams and players they weren't even talked about, and they had amazing players. Mark Aguirre with Dallas, like the secondary teams would have probably won championships in this last 10, 12 years if they were playing now. So you had the 80s will always be the best decade for basketball. And I don't think anything will change. And then the 2000s, I would say, could be second. But Michael Jordan in the 90s is probably going to be second, just because it was Michael Jordan, the Dream Team. You had a lot of residual from that bridge between the 80s to 2000. I mean, the 90s were a phenomenal time as well. I'd say the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, they all had their own elegance. They all were decades that you really enjoyed basketball. You enjoyed basketball. You respected the game. Yeah, you still had some of the ref stuff and David Stern and all that, but overall, we saw some unbelievable games between 1980 and 2010. I mean, unbelievable games. And I'm just happy I was there for at least 2 decades of it. This last 14 years, the Warriors' reign, LeBron's reign, it's not bad. I know the ratings were pretty good when the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Warriors were going head to head, but I didn't see the elegance as much. You didn't see the dominance of certain guys and certain teams like Kobe and Shaq and Jordan and Pippen and all the Laker and Celtic and Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I don't want to say this to be derogatory. I have a lot of respect for the Warriors. I really do. But man, when they got Durant, it kind of went like, really? Like, I would have rather him stayed in Oklahoma City and competed with the Warriors. The Warriors would have probably had a couple championships instead of 4. And LeBron would have probably had a couple of those. And LeBron's career would have been completely different. He'd probably be sitting at 6 championships right now and not really worrying about what's going on in LA. I think he would have still ended up in LA, but he'd have 6 championships, because I truly believe if Love and Kyrie didn't get hurt in 15, I don't think the Warriors get the title that year. And they probably would have won, let's say, in 17 or 18, for all we know. I don't know. I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt at that point. Jordan got all the glory in the 90s. Jordan got all the glory in the 90s, but Magic was saved the NBA in the 80s. Yeah, that's a consensus agreement. I don't think anybody will ever argue against that. Where they saved the league is there was a residual from that, still the highest rated college game of all time, which was the Indiana State Michigan State final in 1979. Magic beat Bird. I think they were 33-0. Indiana State was 33-0. That was their only loss in the finals against Michigan State. So there was this dynamic, and of course, unfortunately, to say this, but it is what it is. Race played a huge storyline in it. The narrative was, here's this white kid from Indiana going to go play in Boston, which is known for their whiteness, and I'll leave it at that. Then you have the Showtime guy, the Magic guy, going to Hollywood. And you had that dynamic, and it just happened to be the Celtics and Lakers. I don't know if the dynamic would have been the same if it was the Washington Bullets and the Phoenix Suns, right? Like, does that sound like it would have changed things? I don't know. Maybe it would have. This doesn't sound right. So you had history behind you there. You had two dynamic players coming in, and they won immediately. Immediately. The first 3 seasons that they were playing, one or the other was winning. And then Moses Malone decided to go to Philadelphia, kind of put a little hiatus there in '83. And I'd say Dr. J cost Bird more championships probably than Magic did, believe it or not. Dr. J beat Bird in 80, 82, and in 83. So Magic and Bird then kind of started solidifying their place in 84, 85, 86, and 87. Now in 86, the Lakers didn't meet them there, but there was still that Laker, Bird, Boston, LA thing there until obviously once the Lakers beat Boston 87, they were able to do something that hadn't been done in almost 20 years, which was go back to back. And then after that, one of the worst finals losses that doesn't get talked about enough is the 89 loss because we focus on 84, 04, and 08. But 89 is kind of a punch in the gut because the Lakers were 11-0 going into that finals. And this was Kareem's last season. And this was Magic was the MVP. And Magic ends up, as well as Barry and Scott, end up blowing out their hamstrings and pretty much giving the Lakers no chance at being competitive in that series. And then they ended up getting swept. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to end that decade with a three-peat, with Kareem going out with his 7th title, and probably Magic Johnson winning 4 Finals MVPs at that time and winning 6 championships. The dynamic of greatest of all time changes greatly just having won one of those championships, whether it was an 84 or an 89. 83, I give kind of a mulligan to Magic and the Lakers a little bit because Moses Malone was just a beast. Dr. J was due. They had James Toney. They had Mo Cheeks. They were just stacked, and everyone was healthy that year. So that was just one of those anomalies in that decade for the Lakers and the Celtics. But if the Lakers win in 84 or in 89, so many things change on the big list. It's similar to the one with the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. I've talked about a few times where if Shaq had won in 95 and 04, and if Kobe had won in 04 and 08, the all-time list changes. And that's what separates Jordan from everyone else, folks. No matter how much you want to deny it or accept it, doesn't matter. Forgot about Bobby Jones there. Thanks, Intel. You're on top of your game tonight, brother. I got to put that up there. Thank you so much. I forgot. I knew there was a 5th guy. I forgot it was Bobby Jones. The league is about talent and accomplishments, and it's also judged by how you win, and it matters. It matters how you win, and no one won with more drama, more often, and never lost at the big stage than Jordan. The only one that got close was Bill Russell, but Bill Russell played in a time where there was only 8 teams. So, and Bill Russell was a 48%, I think it was a 48% field goal percentage type guy. And he had Hall of Famers up and down his teams. I'm not putting Bill Russell down. His team was more stacked, and Bill Russell happened to be of the mentality of team first, which is why he won a lot. Now, if I put him next to Wilt one-on-one, we were talking about the one-on-one thing with John, Wilt takes him out, in my opinion, all day. Shaq, all day. Hell, even Hakeem. But team-wise, intangibles, Bill Russell obviously still has a spot. So, what other questions do you guys have? Where are we? I want to say, Paul George, what are you guys talking about over here? Take a look at LeBron's Cleveland teams, Darren. They sucked too. More stiffs than you'll see at a more. That's a good one. That's a good one. So LeBron, let's talk about LeBron. Okay, LeBron gets a lot of flack for his stuff, right? And this is before he became a Laker. So don't think I'm saying this because he's a Laker. LeBron played in Cleveland. Okay, the only place worse than Cleveland in the NBA is probably Minnesota or Charlotte. At least New Orleans has a good atmosphere, right? New Orleans could be the other one, but at least, living in New Orleans, I've been in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. I even liked it even after Katrina. It was still a fun place to be at. But no one wants to be in Minnesota, and no one wants to go play basketball in Charlotte. I still don't know what the hell they were thinking having a second expansion team in Charlotte. But anyways, so you have Cleveland, Ohio, and LeBron has this epic series with Boston in 08 where he almost beat them by himself. And then 09 comes and he's supposed to be in the finals, right? Against Kobe. And he gets beat by Dwight Howard. And then the following year, which happens to be the first year of everything, right? Well, it was not technically, it was another year with Cleveland, 2010, I'm sorry. He bows out again. Now he's trying to recruit Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is a free agent. He knows Dwayne Wade isn't going to leave Miami. That makes sense. But let me see if I can get Bosh over here at least. If I have Bosh, I might have a chance of doing something here in Cleveland. Bosh says, I ain't going to Cleveland, bro. I'm going to Miami. So what does he do now? Is he going to be Kevin Garnett? Or is he going to usher a new era of the super athlete? Well, he decided to do that, the latter. And it's been following him ever since. Now, he did make up for it by going back to Cleveland, at least for Cleveland's sake. And when he did win, he ended up getting the short end of the stick because Durant decided, you know what, I want to go play for the 73-win team and really make sure that I'm going to win championships for the next couple of years. And the rest is history. For LeBron, he's chased, trying to win championships, been criticized. He's won championships, still been criticized, saying, well, Kyrie made that shot. This guy did this. Ray Allen did that. And then, of course, insult to injury, Kevin Durant decides to go play with two of the greatest shooters of all time, if not one and two. The Defensive Player of the Year, a team that's coached well with Steve Kerr, and a team that understands that this is team basketball with no egos. Come on. At the end of the day, LeBron did all he could to make sure he didn't turn into a guy that was going to struggle to win a championship. So with that, different times, baby. This is not the 90s. This isn't the 2000s, and it wasn't the 80s. So if you're going to fault him for that, if you're going to stick with that, well, then you're probably just doing it just because it makes you feel good to hate. So let's get back to some of your questions here. What did Sports Baby have? Did you watch Jordan play live, and how was it, Joe? I didn't see Jordan play live, like with him on the court in front of me. The 90s were, I had just moved to San Diego in 96. I wasn't, at that time, I wasn't readily available to just go play and watch games. I didn't go watch the Warriors when I was in Central California when the Bulls were in town. Like that, I didn't have control. I was too young. Then when I moved to San Diego, it was like a couple of years being there. I'm a college student. I don't have any money to go anywhere really and buy tickets. And then he retired in 98. Now, there was a chance to maybe see him when he was a Wizard to play the Lakers, but those tickets were so out of my area that I didn't even think about going to this. So no, I did not ever see Jordan live, but I did see a lot on TV. And believe me when I say this, that guy had a different freaking engine. He really did. He had a different engine. No, he didn't push off, Sheet. Brian Russell his momentum was going that way. And Jordan just had his hand at his hip. He didn't really push him. You could tell because Brian Russell slipped after he had tried to pivot back. If he had really pushed him, he would have went all the way. He would have went all the way. Whether he would have fell or not, he would have went all the way. No, Sheet, he did not. And you can sit there and say it all you want, and you'll be wrong. You got a problem with that? You know where you can find me. I saw Jordan plenty. He was one of the most competitive athletes I've ever seen. No, sir, he almost hit the floor. No, he didn't. Joe, how was Knockout Pizza? We're going tomorrow, Xbox. I'm going to go meet Gerald tomorrow. Today, he had to go to the concert in L.A. He went and saw the Kobe statue. We're planning on going tomorrow. I have some work over there in that area that I got to go attend to. And as soon as I'm done, I'm going to head over and have lunch with him. Agree to disagree, Sheed Black, but you are wrong on this one. I've looked at that play probably 1,000 times. You don't fall like that when you're being pushed. He was out of balance. I saw Jordan up close at a Midsummer's Night Magic. What? What are you talking about, Darren? What is that? Is that a theater show? Are we just stuck in Midville to good to tank for high time? Kratos, we're stuck, bro. You said it right. We are stuck. We are stuck, and I'll tell you why it's going to get worse. Jeannie's going to give LeBron an extension. If she gives LeBron an extension, he's here for another 2 years, we're going to not only be stuck, we're going to be in quicksand. It's not just going to be stuck. You're going to be going down. They were the same Sunday. However, this is how I describe the difference between Jordan and Kobe. Jordan could get to a spot with room, with separation. That's the word I was looking for. Jordan could get to a spot on the floor with separation anytime he wanted. That gave him a huge advantage in getting the shot off the way he wanted. He had just a half a gear of natural God-given speed, reaction talent in Kobe that allowed him to do that. And this is a game of this. When you're at that level of sports, this much can make a difference. Now, Kobe, on the other hand, couldn't get to spots with separation sometimes, but the way he made up for it is he made those shots, whether he was like this, like that, this, or whatever, or somebody in their face. Shane Battier used to literally put his hand like this in his face, and he'd still make the shot. So Kobe would just jump over you, shoot over you. But as far as pure athleticism, Jordan had that half. Jordan was a sixth gear, the rare sixth gear. Kobe was a 5.5. Hey, Danley, what's up, bud? Hip checking, Joe, stop drinking. I'm not drinking. I already took my shots. I took 5 shots tonight, guys. I think that's enough. Thoughts on free agency? Hey, man, that's a good one, Frank. I'm very happy with what's gone on. The Steelers, I'm a Steeler fan, for those of you who just chimed in recently. They were very active. Usually they're not very active. I think getting Queen out of Baltimore was huge. They desperately needed a middle linebacker. They were just thin there. They were getting killed last year with health there as well. Mason Rudolph left. And granted, he's a backup quarterback, really. He's going to Tennessee. They picked up Russell Wilson. That's going to be that to me is a pretty good deal considering you're only paying him $1.2 million. I don't think you can lose at that. And then they're going to give Kenny Pickett every chance to make up for whatever he did last year. We're going to get a chance to see that. We're going to see if it was the offensive coordinator last year or not. We'll see. After Kobe became the highest paid NBA player, the Lakers went 21-61, then 17-65. LeBron won't ever do that, but I'm not sure that he can sign a 3-year deal because of this. No, it won't be a 3-year deal. It'll be more like a 1 or 2. I was factoring in the 1 year he has left. Getting traded. Yeah, but we got a good corner. He's a good cornerback. He's a captain of the team. Yeah. So I'm the Steelers. Omar Khan is. He's from. If you're looking at it from paper, he's making the right moves. He's filling in the areas that they need desperately. Middle linebacker, they just at least got one of those guys in there that they don't have to worry about that in the draft, at least not in the high areas. You have a really good cornerback that's going to be able to be on the other side with Joey Porter Jr. That's huge. Now you don't have to worry about that. Now the Steelers can focus on getting a center and maybe getting a right tackle and then possibly getting a really good safety here. If there's a quarterback to be had that might have some potential of being a franchise quarterback, maybe in the second round, that's probably the only way they're going to be able to find their franchise quarterback. Otherwise, they're gonna have to be the Tennessee Titans for a while. How's the Houston guy doing that we passed up on? He's doing well, Intel. A lot better than Mr. Shafino. Unfortunately, we're never going to know what he could have done with the Lakers, but we know he could have helped out a lot. His athleticism, his ability to get to the rim, to score, and man, they really needed that at that price too. It's unfortunate that the Lakers couldn't make that call. Are there any free agents this summer in basketball? Not really, Darren. Not really. Nothing of significance. There's going to need to be someone that demands a trade. Someone like a Trae Young. I think Trae Young may not demand a trade, but there's going to be some discussions. Well, maybe it might be time for new scenery and things like that. And Atlanta will want to get a haul for him, which I don't know. The Lakers would have needed somebody like Donovan Mitchell with, let's say, D'Angelo Russell on the team. If you had a Donovan Mitchell, D'Lo, with it like a 3-year, $20 million a year contract, since you have his bird rights, and then of course you extend LeBron, let's say, an extra year, and then AD's still under contract. Now you have something where you have some players there that can really spell the other guy, and then you'd have to hit on the draft if you still have your draft pick this year. You have to hit in the draft, see if you can get somebody viable, more depth. Use the MLE for a guy that doesn't freaking die after 2 games like we've had the last few years, and then that would be the way to start that. But with that, folks, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Unfortunately, we have to watch the Kings beat the Lakers again for the 4th time this year. This is the 2nd time in franchise history that the Sacramento Kings sweep the Lakers in a season. The score tonight was 120-107. AD is 0-10 against Domantas Sabonis. So he's going to see him in his nightmares until he figures this out. But until the next game, I want to thank you all again for being here for the post game and the nightcap. Intel, thanks for the super chat. My stomach thanks you for the warmness on a nice crisp night tonight. But until this next game, hopefully this 4-game little series at home produces good things. We're going to see Golden State on Saturday. And, of course, Steph Curry will decide to come Saturday. Couldn't get lucky enough to not have him play. But I think a full team there is good still. I like to see Steph on the court playing against LeBron, especially when LeBron beats him. But until then, if you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, you can find me on X, Twitter, Joe Soro LFB. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's Synblades, SYN, Blades, all one word, _turf. If you want to find me on Facebook, and by the way, you can direct message me on any of these. If you want to find me on Facebook, I have an alias, Johnny Blade, Synblades. That's my character for Synblades. That's on Facebook. It's on private, so you'll need to hit me up if you guys want to friend me on that. I don't post a lot on there, but I do throw in some occasional political funny videos on there and some other family stuff, but very, very rarely. I'm more of a direct message guy on there, if anything, and then I sell a lot of my turf on there, my remnants and things like that. If you want to email us, it's LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Gerald usually checks that pretty much by the minute. And until then, folks, we'll see you tomorrow, probably for a snack pack, and we'll probably have another one after that until we get to Saturday. And until next time, we'll see you next time.